Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Mike Tamayo, and this is Tamayo Creative. So a little while back, I did a video on how good the iPhone's footage was when I had a job in Pendleton, Oregon with the Jackalope Jamboree Music Festival, and how well it did in low light footage, in slow motion footage, in low light, all that stuff. I'll link that video in the description below. But today, I wanted to kind of do a different style of video. I had a couple people ask me, okay, well, if the iPhone footage is so good, why don't you use that for your YouTube videos? And you know, that's a really good question. I think that there's definitely some points in filming that a real camera is a lot more necessary. And I think that sometimes an iPhone does just as good of a job depending on the situation. So without further ado, we're gonna do this entire video, with the exception of the shots of the iPhone, all filmed on the iPhone. So let's go ahead and switch to it, and you might notice a little bit of a difference right away. And go. What's up guys, and welcome to my humble abode. This is kind of where all the magic happens for the YouTube channel. This is where I do all of my editing, all of the soundproofing, everything that we have going on that we do downstairs in the basement comes up here, and I edit all in this creative workspace. So right off the bat, this is significantly wider. As you can see, everything in here in the previous shot you really couldn't, which I think is pretty advantageous to something of the iPhone, especially the newer models. When you tilt them horizontally, the field of view goes a little bit wider. It's not necessarily as focused as the camera lens that I have is. However, I could get a different lens, definitely, to make it a little bit more of a wider field of view. But with the Canon M50, since it is a mirrorless camera, I would have to get an adapter first and then get the lens, and that's a bunch of extra money that we don't want to put towards the channel right now, especially with it being in the early stages that it is. So for right now, we'll just do the standard, sit far back away from it, and you'll still get that same depth of field that we have been working with in previous videos. Big reason I want to do this is to compare the two. You saw that first shot at the beginning, and every single one of the other YouTube videos has been done on the Canon EOS M50, and this iPhone being 4K 24 frames looks super good. One of the biggest problems that I have with the iPhone though is that, as you can see in the shot, it keeps everything in focus. I absolutely love that look of being the one thing in focus, kind of the subject of your shot, and everything else being blurred. That's something that a lot of photographers that I've learned call bokeh. And really, you don't get as much of a bokeh effect on the iPhone unless you're using maybe the telephoto lens and you get close enough, and then it gets your subject that's closest to the camera in focus, and then everything else in the background is out of focus, or bokeh, or blurred, or whatever you want to call it. And I love that. It looks a little bit more high quality to me. It makes you feel like you have a little bit more high production value and doesn't look like iPhone footage. Whew. Sorry about that, guys. It is a little hot in here. My God. Utah is currently 6 million degrees and the AC is not working. So wonderful. I love sitting here and just sweating my balls off. Yikes. Fun fact about the view that you're seeing right now is that this isn't even considered the higher quality lenses on the current iPhone. This is actually the front-facing camera, so I can see exactly what I'm looking at. I could definitely show you some different examples of the rear camera, which you kind of saw in the last video. The better night mode shots, the higher contrast, the bigger dynamic range are definitely the lenses in the back. And this is a little bit more of your standard wide angle with some good dynamic range for sure. It's a little, it can go HDR, which is a great asset to have for a phone. And you can totally make great YouTube videos with it, which I'm kind of seeing as we go. Oh my God, sweating my nuts off. Whew. All right, well, now that the house is significantly cooler, thank God we can continue recording. Man, I could not continue for a sec. That was kind of insane. Okay, so a couple things. I went ahead and I switched from the front camera to the rear cameras, and you can actually see already that this is a little bit of a different look. The front camera, when you compare it to the Canon EOS M50, looked a lot softer to me, a little bit more bright, almost like the exposure was overdone. One thing I like about the iPhone, you can kind of tap to focus, right? And that will adjust the amount of light that's coming into your sensor. You know, if it's a little bit too bright, your iPhone will dim it a little bit. If it's a little bit too dark, your iPhone will blow it up a little bit more. The thing I like about the Canon EOS M50 is I can control exactly how much I want coming in. So I can make a shot look incredibly overblown, or I can make it look a little bit more controlled and subdued. I mean, you can tell from the very first shot of this video compared to the front-facing camera on the iPhone how much more controlled the Canon shot was. The iPhone was taking every bit of light that was bouncing off everything, and I literally am only using a ring light with some background lights. I actually have the surface light of my room completely shut off. And as we were talking about before, that bokeh effect, the rear camera doesn't have it either. I mean, like you can see, it keeps everything in focus just like the front-facing camera did. And you know, if that's the look that you're going for, it's going to do a great job. There are very successful YouTube channels that go strictly off of an iPhone, and something of this quality is pretty incredible. Speaking of physical quality, the rear camera is definitely much better than the front camera in my opinion. I think it does better on color control. I think it does better on sharpness, even though both are 12 megapixel cameras. Thing about the Canon EOS M50 though, it's a 24 megapixel camera, literally double the count. So yes, the files are larger, but I think they look a little bit more crisp. So all in all, can you make a successful YouTube channel or a good looking YouTube video with an iPhone? 100%. It does have a little bit different control when it comes to lighting, when it comes to color, and you don't necessarily have the same customizable abilities that you would on a real camera, which is why, although this has proven to be a lot better than I thought, I'm gonna continue using my Canon EOS M50. The bokeh's better, the shot looks better, I have more control, more customizability. The shot is also a lot sharper, which is something that I'm looking for too. But hey, if you guys use an iPhone for your videos, let me know in the comments below. I actually have a couple friends who use strictly phone footage for all their stuff, and it looks great. I mean, you're seeing it right now. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking into the short comparison, and as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you later.
Bad mother!